What's up, everyone? I'm just here shooting some videos, but as you can see behind me, there's supposed to be a green screen, but it is being ruined right now by the sun because behind me I'm not able to actually get a good key because there's too much sunlight coming through. So I'm just waiting for the sun to go away, to go down. And in the meantime, I figured, what am I going to do? So I might as well start a live stream. What's going on, everyone? Hey, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Jenna. Forza, hi. Hey, Trina. Good almost evening to you, too. Hi, Dad. All right, Machi. You're welcome. I'm glad that you're inspired to keep on working on your voice and your singing. That's one of my hopes with doing my videos, is that it'll inspire a lot of you to continue on and grow as singers. Greetings from Toronto. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want to talk about, I'm open. All right, Smack, nice to meet you here. Smack Thought. And I feel so odd reading out the names, some of these your YouTube usernames, because they are sometimes very difficult to pronounce. I'm going to be totally honest. Do I write my own music? Yes, although I haven't had much time to write the music recently. How to sing higher notes with chest voice. So generally, we don't actually want to sing higher notes with chest. What you'd much rather want to do is actually try to mix. So if we bring chests up too high, we're pushing and reaching, we're going to force way too much effort up there. Much better, see, I already threw off my voice. It's much better to allow it to shift up into your head. That way you're going to be able to hit the higher notes without as much strain and force. So get a feel for doing that before you start blowing out your voice, trying to pull your chest up into your higher range. Yes, I have seen the TNT's World's Best Performance. I actually just shot the reaction video for that. So that will be posted very soon, just as a sneak peek for you guys, for who anybody is interested. How long did it take me to become a vocal coach? I was studying singing for about 4 years before I became a vocal coach. And to be totally honest, I didn't feel prepared to start teaching other people at first. It took me a long while to get comfortable being willing to say, okay, I've come far enough that I'm going to teach other people what I've learned. And so that kind of took a little bit of time. But yeah, it was about 4 years from when I started singing. Yes, Mark Martel is pretty awesome, I must agree. I'm a big fan of his, if you can't tell from my YouTube channel. How do you judge a singing voice? Well, depends on what your criteria of what you're judging. As you could tell from the critiques that I give, I judge a lot on technique. So I try not to be so subjective. I try to be more objective. Are they using their voice in the proper way, or are they using it improperly? Wow, the sun is literally like right in my eyes right now. Sure you can see. Yeah, the whole green screen is lit up improperly and would not get a good key. I'm worried that the last video I just shot might be garbage because that issue. But we'll only find out once I'm doing it in post. Well, I just went a little bit off topic there. I forgot what I was talking about. Is there a way to keep my falsetto after my voice changes? Yes, definitely. Falsetto is that woo, ah, type of sound. I've gone through puberty and I still have falsetto. So yes, you can definitely keep it after you've gone through your voice change. Yes, Mindo, is that how you pronounce your username? So it requires a lot more support. So support is really using your lower abdomen in order to engage here so that the sound doesn't have to go onto your throat. So a lot of singers, when they're singing, is ah, and a lot of the force and effort comes onto the throat. So it's much better to ah, engage our lower abdomen. I'm pushing here. Up. And so that allows for a stronger, more beefy sound that you'll find is easier to get more strength out of. You love singing, but you feel you're so bad when you sing, and you would really like help to get to know how to sing. So I actually put out lesson videos, and hopefully I'm going to be putting out some more in the coming months. That's definitely my hope. So keep an eye out for that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I know it's expensive, but one-on-one coaching, and I'm not saying you have to take lessons with me, but lessons one-on-one are the best way to learn, period. If you want to get good fast. But there's definitely other ways that you can kind of improve your voice without necessarily having to take lessons. There's YouTube. The problem with YouTube is that there's so much information out there. You don't know where to start. You don't know what's correct. You don't know what's a lie. You don't know kind of how to wade through the whole mess of YouTube vocal coaches, because literally everyone and their brother is now a vocal coach these days. So it's kind of hard to know which one to go for. And then you have services like group singing lessons. So those are really cool because there you get to do it at a fraction of the price. I also have a service on my website. If you go to my website, www.amvocalstudios.com/products, you'll find on my website two things. One is a singing course that I sell for $20. The other one is a subscription. The great thing about the subscription, it's very similar to what I actually learned for a good long period of time when I was learning to sing. It's one-on-one lessons that I have with other singers. And so you get to listen in on the singing lessons, and you can hear what I'm critiquing from those people, which gives you a good idea on how, and you follow along with the exercises. So then that gives you a good idea on how to improve your own voice. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. Yeah, Trina, definitely it's easier to sing when you're standing. I hadn't thought of that, and she didn't really mention anything. So it didn't really occur to me. But definitely, if she wants to, it's easier to be singing standing up than it is sitting down. How do you remember noted on your head while singing a song? Know which note to sing? Well, I mean, like as you go through a song, you study the melody, and so once you have the melody down, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. So you learn where each one of those notes are. Da 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 da. And so that way you're not guessing at where the notes are. You're able to very easily pick up and like once you go over it over and over and over again, it becomes second nature that you just sing it correctly. No problem, Trina. My pleasure. Thank you very much for joining in on the live stream here. How much does a vocal coach make a year? That's not personal to ask. Well, it's not personal because really vocal coaches vary very much. I know that there's vocal coaches that are charging $500 US an hour. I know vocal coaches that charge $30 an hour. So it's quite a serious range out there, right? If you go to your local music store, which is how actually I started taking lessons. So your local music, vocal coach is not making more than $25 to $30 an hour. So you might be paying $45, $50 an hour, but they're only making of that, 25 to 30. So, kind of do the math. If you have a full student schedule, that's going to be your yearly salary. And then if, you're full up with, I don't know, $50, $60, $70 an hour, like you just kind of calculate it based on how many students you have. And the thing is that students come and go, right? So it's not something you can depend on that. Yeah, I know 40 hours a week I've got students to work with. So it's not something where you kind of get a yearly salary. It's kind of like building a business. So you don't really know where it's going to be or what's going to grow from it, unless you're working for a music school, and then you have a very set salary. All right, Lethal Jake. You have a higher voice for a guy, definitely not deep to start. So what would I suggest? I would suggest doing some very simple exercises to warm up your voice. I'm sure you guys have heard of the lip roll by now. It's just a sound, just going. Just doing that through your range every day, but making sure that you're not going on their top notes, right? You don't want to force and try to reach for it. You want to keep the larynx low. You don't want to allow it to jump up on you, and so you always want to keep this little bit of a yawn feeling in the back of the throat. Oh, thank you. How do I control my vibrato? Well, first question, do you have a vibrato? Second question, is it a natural vibrato? What I mean by natural is it happening from the natural oscillation of the larynx? So the larynx just tilts forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, like very, very quickly when you're doing proper vibrato. Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Andy. Awesome. Nice. That's the first super chat I've received. Oh, Trina, thank you so much for putting that out there. Yeah, she's amazing. So yeah, Trina, if you guys saw in the comments, Trina's daughter is taking lessons with me, and I'm not going to take credit for her voice because she started coming to me with a very beautiful voice. But she's definitely grown a lot in the lessons that we've taken. So we used to do Skype lessons, but now I've moved all my stuff over to a program called Zoom, and it works much, much better. It's so much. Number one, you can record right into the software, and number two, it doesn't lag, so you don't get all this internet interference and issues like that. So it's definitely it's awesome. I like it. What do you suggest to a female when they try to harmonize with a male? Okay, so that's a good question. With harmony, what you want to try to do, it's very different than singing lead vocals. Harmony is really all about molding your voice to fit really well with the other voice that you're singing with. Any good example of harmony, like if you take Simon and Garfunkel as an example, they have just such beautiful harmonies because their voices just jive together so nicely. And so that's kind of what you want to do when you're harmonizing with somebody else, is you want to allow your voice to kind of go softer and mold with the original lead vocal. If you try to push and overpower and be too characteristic with your harmony vocal, it's going to sound really bad. So a harmony vocal, the best harmony vocals are very bland, if that makes sense. So as a female singer, well, really a male or female singer singing with another singer, you really want to try to allow your voice to just be really bland. Don't like try to stand out, and just try to blend with the other main vocal. Hey, Ron, I've got a lesson with Ron tonight, actually. So that's awesome. And he's coming up. He's going to be the third in my line of lessons. I've got one after I'm done here, plus I've got more, one more after that, and then Ron's my third lesson, and hopefully the last one for the night, because I'm sure I'm going to be exhausted by then, if I'm totally honest. Where am I from? I'm from Toronto. Yep, that's where I am, right here. And it's freezing outside, but the sun decided to come out, which is not working well for me because unfortunately this library doesn't have, it has massive windows, and then it doesn't have drapes that go and block the sunlight. So I'm getting direct sunlight into the studio, which is not the best thing for recording green screen. Although it's starting to move over, and hopefully soon I'll be able to record. Maybe I'll get one more video in before I have to wrap it up and go to my lesson. Do you guys have any other questions? Could I do more live videos around this time? It's nice to speak with a vocal coach about my questions. Yeah, I would definitely. Yes, I have a hat on my head. This hat is called a kippa, and it's to remind me that there's always someone above me. So you can look up my lessons at www. Here, let me just put it in the chat here. amvocalstudios.com. Yes. Do I have a favorite band besides Queen? So for a really long time, the Red Hot Chili Peppers were my favorite band. I think that's changed now. My favorite singer is probably Bruno Mars. He has like, man, his voice is insane. And I heard about it from a friend of mine who knows Phil. Phil is his ex backup vocalist. And Phil used to say that Bruno would wake up being able to sing just like the record. And so that was always a huge, just like, I was like, why don't I have that? Well, I've never had that, right? Because I wasn't born with a good voice. But it's definitely one of my favorite singers right now. Do I have Polish roots? I don't have any Polish roots, no. How much do I charge for online lessons? So you can check out on my website. It has it right there. I don't want to say it on the video because they often change. Sometimes I've got sales going on. So I don't want people, in a year from now watching this video and being like, hey, it's not that much right now. So go check out the website. Always putting out the prices there. Have I ever damaged my voice? Yes, unfortunately. So, oh, no way. I didn't know she likes the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's so funny. So I damaged my voice when I first started singing. I started in a rock band, and I used to scream my heart out every single night when we were having practices, and our practices would be a drummer behind me in a small room, drummer, bass, guitar, amplified, and my voice, no amplification. And keeping in mind, I had no clue what I was doing. It sounded really bad, and I pushed my voice way too hard. And I remember coming out of those jam sessions sounding like this. Like my voice was gone. So it has taken me like a lot of time, but I think I've overcome those issues. And unfortunately, also, I have really bad acid reflux that I suffer from. And so that acid reflux has caused me some vocal damage. I had a polyp on one of my vocal cords. And when I went to get it removed by the ENT here, she's one of the best in Toronto, Dr. Anderson. And when I went to have it removed, luckily, it had disappeared. So that was great. But right now, what I'm dealing with, and I'm actually going back to see her very soon about potentially, this is scary, potentially doing vocal surgery, is I have a sulcus. I'm sure none of you have ever heard of that because I hadn't heard of that. What that is, essentially, it's a scar on one of your vocal cords. And either they believe, there's not much research about it, but from the research they have, they know it's either from vocal damage or from birth, like it's congenital issues. So they don't know which one it is, and I don't think it is that it's congenital because I didn't have the same voice issues that I'm having now. So that is something. What was I saying? Yeah, so that is what I'm kind of coping with right now and working through, and hopefully we'll get sorted out soon. Thank you. I appreciate it, Jeffrey. Yeah, sometimes I second guess myself, but yeah, it's I do a lot of self-care to really make sure that my voice is holding up. Because if I didn't, then thank you, Trina. Because if I didn't do the self-care and constantly exercising, warming up, making sure my voice is as good as it possibly can be, then it could potentially have ruined me. Oh, you had an audition. That's awesome. But didn't get through. But next year I want to go through a better voice. I really want to get rid of my nerves. I should look out for your stuff here on YouTube. Yeah. So subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be putting out a lot of content. You can learn a lot from the videos that I put out, from the critiques that I give of other singers, so you can kind of get a feel for what you hear from those singers and trying to kind of copy the good things that they're doing and not copy the bad things that they're doing. And I try to kind of put it in clear terms, what they're doing and how they're using their voice, so that you can do the same thing. All right, guys, I've got to head out because I've got this lesson coming up, and now the green screen is nice and clean, but unfortunately, I got to go. So thank you all so much for coming out and joining me for this impromptu live stream. It was awesome. And let me go back to that because I want to make sure I thank you for this. Andy, thank you very much. I really appreciate the generous donation. That's really awesome. Yeah, just wanted to make sure I gave you a shout out before the end. Okay, one last quick question. How do you differentiate between, okay, unfortunately, it's not a quick answer. If you go into my channel and search for falsetto singing, you'll find the answer to that question of the difference between falsetto and head voice. All right, guys, I'll see you all later. Take care.